I have kind of different ideas for the graduate supervision and undergraduate teaching. And but I think if I focus upon that undergrad trainings or the undergraduate programs, then I think I am increasingly jaded about the practice commonly used by professors in the university. That is, I don't believe in the large classroom, just giving lectures and students are taking notes with the fear that they may miss important information that will be in the exam. This way of making students learn, like using the fear and threat so that they memorize certain things. But I notice, including myself, those regurgitated knowledge which is in the sacred books called textbook do not stick to you. You forget it. And I think that is a healthy practice because most of the knowledge that you learn from the books by reading, you may not use it. And once you use it, then it becomes useful knowledge. So my emphasis about knowledge is self-knowledge. The most important knowledge is not in the textbooks or books or library or somebody saying. No, most important knowledge is about you. So each student have to really accumulate the relevant knowledge that relates to them. And so I want to really push students to become self-critical of what they are and who they are, and really interrogate who made the idea that they have. And there's the old Simon and Garfunkel song, like I used to be this and that, I used to be this and that. And we are like that. We gain some knowledge and ideas from the people that we think is really great. And then we try to internalize it. And then we practice it, and then you become jaded or disappointed. Why? Because it doesn't work. I think the practice of gaining the knowledge is about engaging. So if you do not engage with the knowledge that you just acquired, and then it is as irrelevant as any dust collecting books in the library. So that's I would really emphasize first self-knowledge, and think about any information the students are getting may not be really useful for them, and if it is not useful, you can forget about it. But you have to retain something important. So I think that's the start. But then I think another practice that I want students to do is engagement, like action. Like there was this old dichotomy of theory versus praxis. And Marxists have been really talking about this. And I faced this dilemma as an academic, like in the armchair. You just analyze and then talk about the social problems, but you never engage in the action. And I think I learned this from my graduate program in SUNY Binghamton, that well, you can just talk about all these things, but no, don't do anything. That's a possibility. But the atmosphere of the graduate program in the SUNY Binghamton was that those people who don't engage are so looked down upon. And so I think I had this sense of like a phobia, like, oh, if you don't act, then you're not really doing anything great. But yet, there are times that you have to act, and there are times that you have to sit and think. So I think that I want students to have more opportunities to act. But if you look around the undergraduate programs in Concordia or any other places in Canada or North America, or for that matter, most universities in the world, it is a place to just sit in the library and then to read. That's encouraged. I think not many universities really promotes. There is an exceptional university in British Columbia, one of the new ones, in that most classes are engagement with the community, but it is a really rare university. And so what I want the students in Concordia University to do is engagement. And so I will use my class as a way of making students engaged in social action, community activism, and student action on campus. And all this translates into discovering something that they didn't know about themselves before. Because students these days are encouraged to be egotistical just look after your own interest, and you may care about other people to the extent that it's relevant to you. So like this kind of attitude needs to be challenged. Why? Because by engaging in collective action, working together with other students discover or something that they didn't know about themselves, or they like it, or they realize that isolation that they are so accustomed to or they are longing for actually was not precious at all. Like for the satisfaction and happiness, doing something for other people is a source of pride and sense of accomplishment and sense of happiness. And I want students to experience all this interesting that accompanies the action. And to me, the action is doing something useful for other people. And these are experiences that students engage oftentimes as a volunteer in different places. And many students had experienced that as let's say high school students or CGEP students. But in the university, it is not encouraged, even though on the surface they are encouraged, and now you can have a certificate if you engage in communities. Yet, it is not part of our curriculum. So I want to really incorporate that so that the students have learning through doing. So the practice or experience becomes a very important part of knowing themselves, so that they can experience a transformation through the university curriculum and learn about the future. And another aspect of all this thing is the job market in the future. Like it is the cold statistical truth that maybe 1/3 of our students will not find a satisfactory job in the corporate or government. Those two sectors, corporate and government, are the main source of employment in Canada. Yet they are not really expanding, and unemployment is really becoming, or casual employment, or temporary, or kind of the limited term employment is becoming the common. And this means that the corporations are not providing a good employment opportunity. And for those students, I want to have a sense that they can initiate community engagement and then create the cooperatives or other social economy organizations so that they can build the livelihood, not based upon the high income that you can expect from corporate jobs, but more meaningful and satisfactory engagement with their lives. And to me, promoting the idea of the people who are really going into the community sector or engaging in the social economy, I think this is another way of opening up the possibility for my students in the future. So I want the students to experience all these things so that they come out of the undergraduate program as a person who is more aware of what they like and what they feel like doing, and then confident about their capacity, not to just be alone, but then to work with other people. And these, I think, are the really important part and important training that students can get from community engagement. So I think this is how I am kind of phrasing, not in the precise one sentence form of a philosophy, but that is part of my approach to undergraduate education.